Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Trader Playbook. I got one trade from today, and maybe we'll throw an extra one in at the end. So let's just get straight ahead to it. Just look at the overall market. This is the SPY on the daily chart. Everyone knows we've been uptrending for well over a year now, with that bottom out on the 5th of August following the unraveling of the carry trade over in Japan, but we're right up against all-time highs once again, consolidating right beneath it. So almost broke out today, but here I'll just go ahead and show on the 15-minute. Yeah, so we've been consolidating in this range. This is 15-minute chart without after-hours data. So we've been hanging out between 555 and 564-ish. We actually attempted to break out of that range today, but closed back below 564. I'd actually be a lot more bullish on the continuation of the upside if we had got a close above 564, but that's besides the point for now. Let's go over to the Qs here and look at the daily chart. A similar story to the SPY uptrend, bottom out on the 5th of August. We've come up and then we've been consolidating. We're actually around 5% off the all-time highs in the Qs, showing that a lot of the strength that we're seeing in SPY is coming from stocks that aren't the major tech leaders in the country. So just some food for thought there, a bit of rotation perhaps coming into the markets as we've kind of been seeing for a while now, but it's more evidence with our Qs not as close to all-time high as the SPY currently is. And yeah, Q's also been consolidating. Not as easy a range to define as the SPY, but nonetheless, we've been moving sideways for at least the last 5 days. So our stock play for today is going to be an Intel. This is a daily chart for Intel. As we can see, we are down more than 50% from the highs back at the end of last year, beginning of this year. And then we had a long consolidation, and then broke to the downside, or gapped way down, I guess you could say, after earnings were reported this past quarter at the beginning of this month. And then we've been consolidating at the lows before today. And today we got some news. Following the close yesterday, and even I think it was after the aftermarket was closed as well, Bloomberg News reported that Intel was working with bankers to consider various options for their business going forward because they've been struggling a whole lot, including a possible split of the company's foundry business or a curbing of expansion plans altogether. So the market actually took this favorably, and you can see today we had a huge shoot up. We shot up huge, both on price action with a big gap up, and you can see the volume is massively increased. And so our specific play, our specific intraday trade was in the morning here. So we'll go to a 1-minute chart. Okay, so we can see in the pre-market we got a bit of a gap up, and then we just pushed up more and more coming into the open market trading. And then off the open we came down a bit, found some buying here around 21. And then we pushed all the way up over the course of the next half hour to around 2183-ish. And then we sold off a bit, and then we get this little consolidation period. So we got about 15, almost 20 minutes of consolidation between 2153 and 2165-ish. So a 10-15 cent range that we're hanging out in for 15-20 minutes. And so that's one check. I like a consolidation in a tight range. Another check for this trade is going to be, we see our volume contracting down here. So as the consolidation period, or the period of consolidation rather, goes on for longer and the price remains in that range, the volume gets lower and lower, showing less people selling. So we see the volume contracting, and that paired with the consolidation range remaining the same can give us potential for explosive move in one way or another. Now the stock's trending up, at least since the beginning of the pre-market trading. It's on an uptrend. We've gapped up, And so I'm just looking for a breakout of this consolidation range on volume. So you can see we kind of the top right here around 2165. We start to push up against it, and then at the break of this 2165, you see down here the volume nearly doubles relative to that last candle. So we get tons of volume flowing in. Stock shoots up another almost 10 cents, comes back down, but then we hang out in the same range above the breakout price with increased volume, showing that price is being accepted at this level, and then we push up again and push up again the next minute, and we're just shooting to the upside at this point. Volume's really flowing into the stock. I got long just above this 2166, 2167. My fill might have been actually in the 70s, but it was once we had this confirmation of the breakout above the consolidation range on volume. And so then we pushed up and up and up. We got up to the high of day here, where it was a first point. I took some off the table just for potential resistance at this level, but we pushed straight through it, hung out above it for a minute or two, tested beneath it, but pushed back up, showing again strength above the previous resistance, and then we pushed up even more with another huge burst of volume to the upside, all the way up to 2212, which was around a 50-cent win depending on your fills here, and it was honestly a pretty easy trade considering the consolidation. We like long consolidations, the contraction in volume, the breakout with volume, and then you just ride it on the way up. And as far as exiting the trade, you're looking for a change in character, watching the level 2, seeing if all of a sudden there's a bunch of stacked sellers on the ask, or there's a wall that the stock actually can't get through because of increased volume of selling. But we had a pretty clean move here to the upside, and that's pretty much that whole trade. Then once we were up here, I actually took a little bit more off above 22, and then I had probably about 50%, if not a little less than 50%, and I was just holding with a stop just below 22. So if we broke 22, I would be sold out of the rest. And you can see we did run out of steam here at 2212, couldn't break up the 15s or the 20s, and then we sold off. And then we see some increased selling volume, some of the bigger selling candles we've seen since the breakout, and our buying volume had come down quite a bit. So that break at 20, we were out. We captured a cool 50 cents in about 10 minutes here. So that was the Intel trade, consolidation breakout on volume. And yeah, that was the main trade today. I did want to just quickly, since why not, go over one other trade that I thought was interesting today. New holdings, which, let's go to a daily. Kind of been in the steady uptrend as well, but pushing out to the highs of 52-week highs today. But what was interesting about this one was, so we pushed up all day, or pushed up all morning rather. We consolidated. You can see here coming into the end of the day, suddenly crazy increases in volume, and this thing shoots to the upside. And so what I wanted to point out here is today was the 30th of August, which was the final trading day of this month, and therefore you would have a lot of options expiring today, a lot of rebalancing of portfolios by huge funds, index funds, hedge funds, investment companies. So on a day like today, at the end of the month, a lot of adjustments need to be made to a lot of these portfolios. So you'll oftentimes see a lot of you can see wild imbalances, or market on close imbalances in different stocks. And so here I'll go ahead and show you. This is a screenshot I took today. This was only, I think, a couple minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes before the close. But on my brokerage that I use, which is Lightspeed Trading, you can see they have an order imbalances tab. And so I was watching that, and you can see all these names like the net imbalance, total imbalances. These numbers aren't that big, but new, we had 304 million shares to buy, 247 million shares to sell. The net imbalance at this time was 57 million to buy. But coming into 1250 Pacific time, this was around like 85, 90 million. So we could see a huge buy imbalance that was going to need to be fulfilled, or tried to be filled at least, on before the close on this stock. So as soon as these imbalances officially came out at 1250, or the numbers were official, you can see a huge volume and the stock shoots to the upside. And so for this particular trade, I just hopped in right when we started to break out here at 1250. I think I didn't actually get in until 79 or 80s, 1479, 1480s. But then you're just riding the price action. And I was just watching the tape, watching the level 2, and the bids as we got up higher and higher, the bids stepped up more and more, and there were stacked bids pushing this thing further and further up. So I just wanted to point out today that there was a good opportunity in new holdings for this end of the day buy order imbalance trade, end of the month rather. And I mean, it got you a quick, let's see, what, 20, 30 cents depending on how long you held it. I held the whole thing all the way up to 15. I think I sold some a little before 15. Got a little bit of this move above 15, and then I set the rest to sell if we broke below 15. And so it got me out here. And then that was the end of the day. And you can see even here, if we go forward just a little bit, like these candles, you have what, 10 million on this 1259 candle. Over 300 million shares go through right at the end. So, I mean, just massive volume going into the close here. So just something to keep in mind for the end of the month. I haven't traded these a lot, but I'm definitely going to pay a whole lot more attention to trading, especially in Power Hour on the final day of the month, just because you can get these crazy imbalances that lead to huge moves that you otherwise wouldn't have even known were there. So those are the two trades for today. I'll try to be posting on here more. I've just been really busy in my personal life now, but I hope everyone had a good trading day today, has a good weekend, has a good Labor Day, and remember to trade your playbook and playbook your trades.